When I went to sleep at night, I was scared to death that I was going to die in my sleep, but yet I didn't want to die, and when I woke up the next morning, it was like, oh, I have to go through this again, and that's not a way to live. I'm Carmen Feinstein, and I'm the champion for the Celebrate Recovery Native Nations. I came to Celebrate Recovery as an alcoholic and an anorexic, and felt that there was nothing left for me to live for. My parents and I actually have attended Southern Hills Baptist Church for over 20 years. In that time, my parents had saw my life deteriorating due to the alcoholism, and they didn't know what to do because nothing they said was going to help, or I wouldn't take advice from anyone.
As a child, she never got into any trouble, never had any issues that we knew of. Lots of friends. She still has friends from first grade, lots of friends. But somewhere along the way, she got addicted to alcohol.
In the midst of my alcoholism and eating disorder, I was slowly, or rapidly, however you want to look at it, tearing my family apart. I can remember one time, my husband and I were going to go to a OU football game. We've got season tickets. And one of the things about my alcoholism, I never knew when I was going to pass that, have a drink and pass to the zone beyond. And he didn't want to leave me alone, so because I was totally out of it, and he called my parents, and my parents came over, and they took me back to their house, and I could always get drunk at the most inopportune times. I believe that was one of the times that my brother was having a surprise birthday party for my sister-in-law. Well, my parents had to call and get a babysitter for their 40-year-old daughter because, you know, what if I stopped breathing? What if I got sick?
Well, we done everything we could. We'd go take her liquor away from her, throw it away. We'd do this, try to get her car keys, anything that we could do that we think might keep her safe and from driving. But nothing seemed to work.
One of the things I talk about in my testimony is, as sick as it sounds, because I was so thin and I would drink so much, I would just, you know, I kept searching for the same high I got the first time I ever got drunk, and that never happens again. And instead, I would get violently ill. And so I couldn't be left alone. But as sick as it sounds, regardless, when give me 2-3 days of being laid up, being sick, the first chance I got, I would go get some alcohol and drink. So I got to a point where I loved alcohol more than I loved life itself.
The only way that I could describe the way it made me feel was, if I'm claustrophobic, but I could just imagine someone tying me up, gagging me, and putting me in the trunk of a car. That's how helpless I felt. It's just a helpless feeling. You can't help anybody. They have to help themselves.
My bottom was when I was in a bathroom at my home, contemplating suicide, and I saw a book that was entitled Love Letters from God, reading in the bathroom. And at that point, it hit me, and I realized, I've tried everything that I possibly could except turning my alcoholism and my eating disorder over to God.
For me, church was kind of seen as a place where people have it together, or you come and kind of put your game face on and project the image that everything's okay, and then go home, and then there's the circumstance, there's the struggle. I think what sets Celebrate Recovery apart is that it's brought this safety to the church. It's really our vision at this church is to be a safe place of healing, grace, and hope for all generations. I didn't know church could be like that. And I think for a lot of people, when they walk into church and they hear people be real about their struggles, confessing their, being addicted to pornography or being addicted to drugs and alcohol, being, struggling with this hurt habit or hang up. It's not just addictions, but it's any hurt habit or hang up. When people come to church and be real and they see that, they're like, oh my gosh, I think this is what church is supposed to be about. In fact, over these years of doing Celebrate Recovery, the number one thing we've heard about this ministry, the number one thing we've heard over and over again, I'm talking hundreds of times, is that a newcomer will come in and say, gosh, I think this is what Jesus meant the church to be about.
Had I not gone through what I went through, I wouldn't be able to be as compassionate, because when somebody says, I can't quit drinking, I know how they feel. I've been there, I've lived that, and it's hell. It was the love that I felt here that made me want to keep coming back. And eventually, I got sober.